We are going to start talking about rate of change. So in our journal, we are going to call this rate of change, aka slope. Part of these notes we're going to do on the paper you were given, but we are going to put these notes into our journal. We're going to talk about those specifically. So if you will glue them, there are scissors and glue at the front of the room, or you can do that when you get home. I do want you to change no slope to undefined, because no slope sounds a lot like zero slope, and we don't want to get confused, and you can see it there. So we're going to change this to undefined. So we're going to talk real quick about what these different slopes are. So negative slope is exactly what it sounds like. Lines that have negative slopes, not downhill as viewed from left to right. So if you are reading a graph and it is going down when you read left to right, it is negative slope. Positive slope is as you're reading left to right, it is going up. Zero slope, a horizontal line has a zero slope. Now these are going to be y equals some number equation. So you can see, actually I highlighted the x-axis on accident here, right here, this one. So we're crossing the -1, so this is y equals -1. There will be no x on a zero slope equation. You can remember it as this person is cross-country skiing. We can say cross-country skiing is zero fun to watch, because really they're not doing anything. They're going in a straight line. Undefined, which is the one we added, is right here. It is a vertical line. So if you look at this skier that is about to jump off this cliff, his fear is undefined. Like, he cannot even tell you what it is. So this is actually going through -2, and these are going to be an x equals some number equation. So this is x equals -2. So it is going to be the number and the variable for the axis it crossed. This crosses at x is -2. This crossed at y is -1. So finding slope or rate of change on the graph, we have a rate of change of +1, because remember, slope is rise over run. Pick 2 points, count rise or up, and run, which is over. 3 over 3 is a +1. You can also see it in a table of values by doing your bird beaks, because remember, it is change in y over change in x. So the y's are changing by -2. The x's are changing by +3. So your slope is a -2/3. On a graph, that would go down 2 and over 3. So that is going to have a negative slope like that. Okay, so let's look more specifically at slope, aka rate of change. On a graph, we find slope by writing M, because that is our letter for slope, rise over run. So as long as you can count up, down, left, right, you're good to go. In a table, we have M equals change in y over change in x. We often see this as delta y over delta x. Constant rate of change is the same thing as slope. They are the same thing. We often, as a third way, sometimes if we have 2 points, y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2, and we'll look at that a little later on. So here are some examples. We're going to do a couple together, and you're going to do some on your own, and then tomorrow in class we'll come back together. This graph has a negative slope from left to right. It is going down. So the rise happens to be going down. If you're going down, it is going to be a negative. And if you are going right, it is going to be a positive. So our slope here is negative 3 over 5. You always want to simplify if possible. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. So here we have a couple of examples. Again, you're going to pick 2 points. You're going to draw your staircase. I'm going to choose here. You got to look for where the graph intersects the coordinates. I can see that this has a positive slope because it is going up. Identify that first. We're going to count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I want to see those numbers. Rise is 2, run is 3. So, and it doesn't matter what you count between. I can count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Should be the same because it is constant. This one has a negative slope. So again, I'll choose this point and this point. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. I'm going down. That is a negative. And over 1, which is a positive. So I can write negative 3 over 1. I can also simplify this to negative 3. Both answers are correct. I will take either one. Now this one is here. This is a horizontal line. Ski Bird has 0 fun when he is cross-country skiing, and I am crossing the y-axis at negative 1. That is how you calculate slope on a graph. It is very, very simple. I would like you to try graphs D, E, and F. I want you to circle what type of slope, and I want you to physically write the value of the slope. Let's look at a table. Again, change in y over change in x, which is also, we can depict with triangles. So we call these bird beaks. You're just looking to see how they change. So here, you could even do it up here with the positives. It went down 2, and it went up 1. So if you look, if I wrote change in y over change in x, negative 2, they chose 2 points. They got the same thing because remember, rate of change is constant. So I don't really like this negative here, so I'm going to go between these two. 3 to 5 is plus 2. 0 to 3 is plus 3. So remember, y over x, so 2 over 3, and that is a positive slope. If we were to graph this line, it would go up from left to right. Here I don't really have a choice with the negatives. I'll do these because then I only have one set of negatives to deal with. Negative 1 to positive 4, that means we went up 5. And 0 to 3 is plus 3, so 5 over 3. We are not going to change this to 1 2/3. Slope needs to be a fraction. Keep it improper because, again, on your graph, that means you're counting up 5 and over 3. If you have 1 2/3, that is very difficult to count. You don't want to have to mess with that. Here, it doesn't matter. Minus 2 from 12 to 10, and 10 to 15 is plus 5. So negative 2 over positive 5, this is a negative slope. So you simply need to remember your integer rules, and you can do this no problem. I would like you to try D, E, and F. I will tell you D and F, you need to be very careful if you want to graph it. That may be helpful. I would also like you to try this last piece. Draw your own. Draw me a positive slope line and tell me what slope it has. Draw me a negative slope line and tell me what the slope is. Undefined and 0, you should be able to fill in. Tomorrow in class, we're going to do some practice with this.